how they cause disease and illness, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. African people are the originators of the spoken word. We are the first ones to use vocabulary, written language, textbooks, and we are getting away from our art. That is the art of understanding the power of words. We define our words, and we give ourselves power by defining those words. But when we accept the definitions of other people's usage of those words, that gives the other people the power, and specifically the European race. Now I want to go back to the original usage and definition of the words and how they've been distorted. So let's look at these words I have here. Let's look at the words as they were originally defined by Africans, and then how the Europeans have distorted that. Let's go with the word vitamin. Vitamin, when you break it down, you have vi, which comes from the word si or sa, which means sun. Then the other part of the word, as you can see, is ta, vita. Ta comes from tho, which means teach or give knowledge. Then you have amen, which comes from aman. Aman means God, the power of God. So the word means give the sun's power. The words are derived from aman, of course, ammonia, ammunition, amount, which all amount, I'm giving you a word to define the word, which all equal a large amount, or something that has power. Then we have another word called amino acid, which again comes from the word amino, comes from aman, which means God or black African God, and acid comes from ast, which means unclean or unclean black God. Then we have the word mineral, which comes from Min, the goddess of water, which is the birth of the earth and birth of people. We are born in amniotic fluid, water. Min. We have E, which comes from El or La, the one. Min na Ra, and Ra is the last part, which means sun, which is the expression of God. And mineral means the expression or birth of energy. As you know, air is basically a large mineral. And when you condense this large mineral, you have dirt. So we have the birth of energy from minerals. Then we have the word salad, which comes from the African word salah, which means garden of the gods. That's a garden of leaves and fruits, of tomatoes and onions. That gives you a salad, which is actually a garden. Then we have the word menu, which comes from Minet or Min, Min being the goddess of birth again, and which we have Min, you, we have you, or or ert, mean order, and menu means the birth of order. So it looks like a menu. You have the order of food you're going to eat, you have desserts, and you have the side dishes and all that. Now we have the word calcium. First part is cal, or ka, meaning spirit, and si, meaning sun, and without darkness. So you have spirit in darkness. Again, the Europeans have changed these words around and given them negative meanings to give us this negative spirit to keep us away from science. Then we get down to the word magnesium, which comes from ma, or mat, which means balance, ma'at, and ni comes from nia, meaning purpose, and sa, meaning soul, or si, meaning sun, and without. So the word as constructed by the Germans, who gave this periodic table and gave these words their meanings, blacks without purpose. As you know, the Europeans adopted Latin and Greek, but they were not part of Greek civilization, but they claim it. They are Europe, and Europe is away from the Mediterranean states, country states known as Greece and Rome. But the Europeans claim it. And we have potassium, which comes from potassium. The word, the generic word for potassium is kalium. Kalium, kalium. Ka meaning black spirit. Li meaning comes from the word ki or ku, means rule. Means without, so you have blacks without rule. Then you have iron, which we use the word force, or ferium. Fer comes the word per, which means house or mind, and rum comes from the word rumbulium, which means crazy. We had crazy black mind. That's the old word rumbulium, where you get the word rum from, which meant something that makes you crazy. See if you can see that. I'll try to make it clear for you. Then we have zinc. Now, as we have this word zinc, the generic word for it is zincum. Zinc comes from the word sin, which means black, sun, and ku comes from kui, means spirit, and m is a possessive prefix without suffix. A possessive prefix without a suffix. That means blacks without spirit. Then we have salt, and the generic word for that is sodium, or natrium. That's what we call it in science. Comes from the word na, which means black, and then tree comes from the word tira, which means tree, which symbolizes growth and knowledge, and means without. So the word natrium or salt means blacks without knowledge, or blacks are stupid. And we have vitamin C. The partial of vitamin C is called ascorbic acid, and that word comes ascorbic. When you break it down, the first part is ast, means unclean. And core comes from ku, or means black dot, or nucleus. And bik comes from ik, means mind, unclean, black mind, or low life. Then you have vitamin B3, comes from the word, the generic term for that is niacin, nia, purpose, sea, soul, day, which is day sun, and psi, which is night sun, which is darkness, blacks and darkness. And vitamin B1, which is thiamine. Thiamine breaks down to feed, thigh, or tehute, or ta, which means learn, and a comes as a derivative of ra, which means sun god. And then you have mem, which means birth or growth or black dot. Blacks cannot learn. And let's go to the last two. We have vitamin E or tocopherol. As you can see the word per in there, which means house. So let's break down the rest of it. We have tu or tho, means write or teach. We have ku or ker or means birth or nucleus or black dot. And we have pero or para means house, mind of the black dot, or melanated mind. Then you have this word you use all the time called etc. Etc. comes from Set, which is Osiris or rebirth, and Tira or tree. And the word etc. means rebirth of words, or tree of Osiris. When you're trying to say more and you don't want to say more, you say, I'll just give rebirth to whatever words are necessary, so you say etc. Then you have the word doctor, which you say doctor. Comes from the word ta or ut or tehute, to teach. A doctor means one that teaches. But these words have been changed around, as you can see, and given negative connotations. And subliminally, when you're using the words as defined by the Europeans, it can give you anxiety or panic states and phobias, which are fears based on myths. And this affects your mind, which affects your physical body. A sick mind also is a sick body. A sick body is a sick mind. You can't have one without the other. So it can cause psychological problems. It can cause grief because it kills part of you. It can cause childhood separation anxiety, distance you from your child to use these European words. It can cause a distancing effect to use these negative words. The child has to deal with the negative spirituality of the word and deal with the fact that you're using it, and it causes a kind of separation there. But I'm going to show you what I mean rather than point to all of these definitions here. Now look, let me show you some of these words that you just take for granted. We do it every day. Every day. And then we have words that cause us to have diseases. If we use the word like anemia, when you have anemia, that's indecision. These are the feelings that causes us to have diseases. Indecision is a emotional component of anemia. Arthritis is when life is too much of a burden. You cannot fully enjoy or move, or you're being pushed. That's arthritis. When you have that kind of feeling, it expresses itself as arthritis. Asthma, that means you're not allowed to express your feelings or ideas and wants to be broken away from your situation, whatever your situation is, a bad relationship, a bad job. So you have asthma because you cannot express your true feelings. Baldness and headaches, you cannot satisfy your basic needs. You can't satisfy your ego. Bumps is low self-esteem. That's a way of hating yourself or rejecting yourself. When you reject yourself or hate yourself, you get a lot of bumps. Chapped lips, that means you have problems receiving and giving yourself, expressing how you really feel, or getting people to recognize how you really are. Your lips tend to chap. You suppressing tears or pain or crying a lot, that's attributed to the emotional side of colds. Of course, the emotional component of diabetes mellitus, or sugar, as we call it, is the blocking of giving and receiving love and self-worth. Edema, which is holding a lot of fluid in your body, or overweight, it means you're holding on to your fear or rejection, or you're punishing yourself by being overweight. It's like an armament you use to protect yourself from the world and protect the world from touching you. When your feet have corns or calluses or ache, that means you cannot move out of your situation. Fungus, which is athlete's foot, or jock itch, as the men call it, is having excessive sexual desires. Manifests or causes jock itch. Hiatal hernia means stress or lack of control over your life. High blood pressure is someone or something is controlling your life. It's indicative of that. Someone or something is controlling your life other than yourself. Kidney stones, gallstones, which are liver stones, means you're holding your fear and your anger and your love and you can't release it. When you're storing worries or irritation or emotions, you may have constipation in your large intestines or colon. That means you're storing problems or storing your anger to throw at someone, or storing your pain to throw at someone. Rheumatic heart, that's irregular rhythms and that sort of thing, is to fail to get or give support when you're having heart problems. You're not getting support or you're not giving support. Ulcers means you're punishing yourself for not being able to actualize yourself. Yeast infection, just emotional component of that is just meaning that you're depressed. Let me go on to some other diseases that we don't really pay attention to. Let me just focus on the organs here. Look at that. Organs and feelings. The heart indicates impatience or irregular lifestyle or diet or not being able to enjoy yourself, so you may manifest a heart disease. You're having problems with your kidney, like a urinary tract infection or inflammation of the kidney. That means you have anguish and you lack gentleness and you're not satisfying your desire to be a person. Liver problems, inflammation of the liver, inability to digest your food because of the malfunction of the liver means you're depressed and you're not satisfied and you're not kind with yourself, and therefore you can't be kind to others. Lung disease such as bronchitis and colds and those sort of illnesses associated with the lungs, asthma, means that you're in denial, or you're sad, or you lack closeness or righteousness. We have a misspelling with the word closeness there. I hope you can overlook that. I mean, closeness, I left the L out there. The spleen, when you're having problems with your spleen or pancreas, that means you're not sharing your feelings, or you're not growing according to what your schedule is. You haven't accomplished what you wanted in life, and no one seems to have real concern about your true self. So therefore you may manifest a disease with the spleen. Now, people get used to you having these diseases and they develop what we call codependent behavior. Because what they're doing is consoling you and allowing you to have the disease so they can keep you close to them. Codependency or addiction and related disorders, they're related to your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your decisions, your choices, your experience, your wants and needs and sensations, intuition, and your unconscious experience, which is hidden in the way you use these words. Some people that are very tactile use a lot of tactile words, and your feelings are often hidden in the way you use words. If you're tactile orientated, you say, that doesn't rub me right, or I don't feel good. You use words that are associated with touch, and you hide your feelings with these words, or express your feelings with these words. Someone who's visually orientated would say, I don't see what you're saying. I don't see the point. That's not clear to me. So a lot of your feelings are hidden in your visual usage of words. There's tactile people, there's visual people, and there are hearing people. People that learn or express their feelings with hearing words. I didn't hear what you say. That doesn't sound right to me. So a lot of their feelings are related to how they use these words, negatively or positively. But first you have to see whether they are tactile learner, visual, or auditory, which means hearing. Now here's some more sick talk that people use. A statement like, don't even think it. That indicates a person having problems or not getting enough B vitamins or glutamine, which is something used for memory. So they're having a glutamine deficiency. Don't go that way. That can cause you to attract arthritis to yourself, arthritis of the mouth, which we call